What it's Scooby. Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. It's Wednesday, so that makes today the midweek meltdown where we are catching up with the first half of the week's entertainment news. And yeah, we got some good news and bad news type news today. So I'm excited to share what we've come up with for this week. But we're going to start off with something rather serious. Um, and I guess I can honestly say I did not see this coming. I didn't see it coming, even though I probably should have. And that is that Congress is now asking Live Nation for answers, uh, documents, whatever they got on this Astral World tragedy. Now, if you did not join me earlier this week, or was that, oh gosh, I can't even remember what day it was I talked about it. Well, we talked about, oh, it was for the weekly wrap up. Yeah, we talked about how Live Nation, some of the people who had worked part time as security for this event, say that they received an email from Live Nation saying, "Hey, we need you to uh, to sign these documents, saying that basically you won't hold us responsible for any injuries or any damage that you occurred while working the Astro World Festival. And if we're going to give you, if you guys sign that document, then we'll release your paycheck to you." Now, I know that sounds stupid. And we talked about it, and we felt like they are setting themselves up to fail. That is a horrible decision. It's against the law to withhold someone's pay after they've already done the work, especially based on documents. They've already done the work. You want them to sign a document that is counter to the document that they signed to get this job. So now it sounds like you guys are being some assholes about this money. So we wondered how they would get away with this. And now Congress, I guess, is wondering the same thing. How do you guys expect to get away with this? So this is coming to us from Variety. And members of a congressional committee sent Live Nation an open letter Wednesday asking for written answers to questions relating to the deadly Astroworld Festival debacle on November 5th, contending that the tragedy at Astroworld Festival follows a long line of other tragic events and safety violations involving Live Nation. So Live Nation obviously is a bit of a problem. Now, I did not know that they had such a storied history of being negligent, but here we are. Now, this letter was signed by Carolyn B. Maloney, chairwoman of the Committee on Oversight and Reform, and four other members of Congress. It was addressed to Michael Rapino, that is Live Nation's president slash CEO. And this letter, this document, is demanding answers to just 7 questions, but they're the big questions. And they want those answers by January 7th, 2022. And then they also want these contracts. They want to see what contracts the people who worked that festival entered with Live Nation prior to the event. So now, going on with the story, it says recent reports raised serious concerns about whether your company took adequate steps to ensure the safety of the 50,000 concert goers who attended Astro World Festival. And it also noted the 10 deaths that occurred as a result of events at that festival. Now, the letter lays out a timeline. That timeline notes that injuries began to be reported to medical staff at about 9:20 p.m. and that a police log indicated a mass casualty event near 9:38 p.m. But this concert continued until Live Nation, and that's another key component, until Live Nation stopped the concert at approximately 10:10 p.m. We're concerned by reports about Live Nation's conduct following the Astro World Festival. Live Nation and its subsidiary reportedly have withheld pay until part-time employees who work the festival have signed a revised employment contract. So this is not identical to the contract that they signed prior to becoming employees for this event. This is a revised contract. So yeah, we got a whole long list of Congress members who say that they need answers, and I'm going to get to the letter. But parts of what this story, the way it lays out, is laying more of the blame, even more than we thought before. I think just going by this letter, more of the blame is being laid squarely at the feet of Live Nation as an entity. That's good news for Travis Scott. I mean, it doesn't let him off the hook, but it appears that even Congress is saying, hey, a lot of this stuff probably could have been nipped in the bud if only Live Nation was acting in good faith. And they continue to act in bad faith by requiring these part-time employees to sign new documents stating that we won't hold you guys responsible if something happened to us while we were working for you, to include like workers' compensation, anything. So to me, they pretty much with that showed their hand. They showed that they know that they're liable for at least some of this. And while we knew Live Nation is going to face some type of monetary damages for this, that's just way of the world. That's common sense. They're going to face some. Uh, I feel like this is going to make it to where they're facing more. And I'm going to go on down here and read the letter. It says, Dear Mr. Rapino, we are writing to request information regarding the tragic events on November 5th, 2021, when a stampede crushed concert goers, killing 10 people and injuring hundreds more during Astro World Music Festival. Those who died ranged in age from 9 to 27 years old. Concert attendees have provided firsthand accounts of being crushed within the crowd as it surged towards the stage. Live Nation Entertainment was the concert promoter reportedly responsible. Hey, Lysandra. Reportedly responsible for planning, staffing, and putting up money, securing permits, finding vendors, communicating with local agencies for Astro World Festival. Recent reports raised serious concerns about whether your company took adequate steps to ensure the safety of the 50,000 concert goers who attended Astro World Festival. For instance, reports indicate that security and medical staff were inexperienced or ill-equipped to deal with mass injuries. Some attendees stated that the placement of barricades made it difficult to escape. Experts have stated that Astro World Festival organizers failed to heed warning signs. For example, hundreds of fans broke through the metal barricades at the same festival in 2019, causing injuries. Just hours before the November 5th, 2021 performance, dozens of fans broke through an entrance at the festival, indicating that organizers may not have been prepared for the crowd that day. According to reports, the main performer took the stage around 9 p.m. That main performer we know is Travis Scott. And approximately 20 minutes later, medical staff responded to the first reports of injuries. The police activity log shows that by 9:38 p.m., Houston police officers and firefighters responded to reports of a mass casualty event. Houston Fire Chief Sam Pena stated that after local law enforcement received the initial reports of people sustaining injuries in the crowd, our people stepped up and immediately went to the producers and told them, hey, people are going down. However, the concert continued until Live Nation stopped the concert at approximately 10:10 p.m. We're also concerned by reports about Live Nation's conduct following Astro World Festival. Now, I know you're just joining me, Lysandra. Anybody else is just joining? Congress is now looking into the incident at the Astro World Festival. This is a letter that Congress has sent to the CEO and president of Live Nation, Michael Rapino. He has received this letter, and I'm going to go on and finish it, and we can talk about what we hear then. Live Nation and its subsidiary reportedly have withheld pay until part-time employees who work the festival have signed a revised employment contract correcting the original version signed prior to the festival that was dated 2018. The revision makes it clear that the contract, which includes a broad provision releasing Live Nation from liability, applies to the 2021 festival. The tragedy at Astroworld Festival follows a long line of other tragic events and safety violations involving Live Nation. For example, Live Nation has been fined or sued numerous times over safety issues at previous events, including other incidents involving surging fans or stampedes. Did not know that. Didn't know that they had other stampedes at other concerts. Going on. In 2011, a stage collapse in Indiana killed 7 and injured 61. And in 2013, a concert staffer in New York suffered brain damage after a forklift crashed into his booth. From 2016 to 2019, Live Nation and its subsidiary Live Nation Worldwide were cited 10 times for safety violations and they incurred fines. We are deeply saddened by the deaths that occurred at Astroworld Festival and are committed to investigating what went wrong to inform possible reforms that could prevent future tragedies. To that end, we ask that Live Nation Entertainment provide written answers addressing the following topics related to the Astroworld Festival by January 7th, 2022. So that's giving them roughly 2 to 3 weeks to answer these 7 questions. And Live Nation will have to write this in and send it to Congress. And if Congress is not satisfied with the responses, they may be called to testify face to face. So let's go over these 7 topics that Congress is asking Live Nation to answer by January 7th. Number 1, please provide a narrative detailing the roles and responsibilities for Astroworld Festival, including but not limited to venue security, crowd control, mass casualty incident planning, emergency communications, and medical care between Live Nation Entertainment, its subsidiaries, partners, and subcontractors. So here we are with number 1 is basically saying, give us everything that you have. Give us a narrative telling us what was the roles and responsibilities of you yourselves and your security, your crowd control, your EMTs, emergency communications. And this is everybody that Live Nation contracted to do this event. Let's see. Lysandra says, see, that's why they should not have not had the approval to have this at all. And then she said, how you holding my check? I did not hold my service that day. Exactly. Number 2, the second thing that Congress is wanting Live Nation to answer for. Describe any pre-show security assessments, planning, and briefings conducted by Live Nation Entertainment or its partners, subsidiaries, or subcontractors, including any details regarding any safety concerns raised prior to the performance. So, number 2, I think that's pretty straightforward. What was your security plan? When you guys took a walk over this venue, what did you see as far as security and safety was concerned? And not just for Live Nation, not just you guys, anybody that you hired to do this event. Number 3, please provide details regarding Live Nation Entertainment's actions in response to same-day reports of fans breaking through security barriers. As we heard earlier in this piece, in 2019, hundreds of people broke through the metal barricades at the Astroworld Fest. Here we are in 2021. We have the exact same thing. So I think it was more the first time. But after you have had this happen at one event, what was your plan to keep it from happening at a second event? That is something else Congress wants to know. Lysandra, you say, so are they putting all the blame on them? I wouldn't say all, but I'm going to say a lot. A lot. This to me means that Congress, so this is not, a court of law. This is not a judge. This is Congress. They're questioning them, trying to figure out what happened and what could be done moving forward. But the fact that they're asking these questions to these people says to me that they do believe that a lot of the fault lies with Live Nation. So I'm moving on to number 4, the fourth topic that Congress is expecting answers to on January 7th or by January 7th from Live Nation Entertainment. Number 4, what precise time was Live Nation Entertainment first made aware of casualties on the evening of November 5th, and what steps were taken in response to that information? That is an important question as well, because the Houston Police Department is saying 9:38. 9:38 was when we told representatives from Live Nation that there was a mass casualty event. We know that this concert famously went on until 10:10 p.m. So now, what happened in that little more than 30 minutes? What happened in that 30 minutes? If Live Nation had the information, who did they share it with? What steps were taken after the Houston police said, hey, we got a mass casualty event here? So, number 5, what precise time was Live Nation Entertainment first made aware that law enforcement had declared the event a mass casualty event? And what actions did Live Nation Entertainment take between that report, which is 9:38 p.m., and the performance's termination at approximately 10:10 p.m.? Number 6, please share your assessment of the cause of the stampede and whether it could have been prevented. Now, number 6 is kind of what a lot of us would consider a layup type question, whereas we giving you an opportunity to say this was something that was not within your control. Now, the rest of your answers are going to say whether or not that's true. But right now, if Live Nation gets an opportunity at number 6 to say, this is what caused the stampede and we don't think it could have been prevented, this is that's what the answer is going to be. It doesn't take a genius, right? The last question. Oh, that ain't even the last question. I thought it was 7 questions. It's 8. Number 7, please address reports that Live Nation has withheld pay from Astroworld employees until they have signed revised employment contracts that release Live Nation from liability. Big question. Big question. And number 8, what steps does Live Nation plan to take to prevent another injury or death at a promoted or held event? They have got their work cut out for them with these 8 topics of conversation with Congress. But then Congress went on further. They want Live Nation Entertainment to produce the following documents no later than January 7th. They have the same deadline to produce these documents as they do to produce their written answers to these 8 topics. So now we're going into the documents that Congress is going to be looking for when Live Nation responds. Number 1, contracts related to Astroworld Festival security, communications, and medical care. The committee also requests a briefing on the topics listed above by January 12th. So they want another briefing. You want Congress wants a statement done by January 7th. Then they want another briefing to be prepared for January 12th. And they say, you got to confirm that you're going to be able to come for this briefing no later than January 7th, 2022. So they got their work cut out for them. Live Nation has their work cut out for them. Of course, Live Nation also is a big corporation, and the big corporations generally have some of the best attorneys available to do this job. So I'm thinking we might learn a little bit more than we know now, and it is starting to look like the main antagonist in this story is going to be Live Nation. Live Nation is going to have to pay uh, probably the lion's share for what happened in the Astro World Festival. I missed I missed your top flight security of the world that day. Oh gosh. So yeah, so that was just the latest information that I've seen about the Astro World Festival. Something to keep your eye on. Also knowing that Live Nation is being held over the coals for their involvement. Um, and talking about stuff that happened at previous concerts that I had no clue, because I guess if nobody passes away, then we're not going to hear about it too much. But in this situation, we lost lives, so it is big news. And yeah, there we are. So that was my first off the top. My second off the top for today, because I had to do it. And it's a story that I had been following personally. Doesn't have an awful lot to do with entertainment and all of that sort of thing, but I can see a movie being made about this. It's like eventually somebody is going to make a movie that is talking about this story, and the story is just, to me, wild. I'm gonna share it in just a second. I gotta pull it up for you. Okay. And what should come as a surprise to no one, the Ohio Department of Education determines Bishop Sycamore is a scam. It turns out Bishop Sycamore High School isn't a school after all. Now, uh, let's see. I'm trying to see if they tell the story a little bit better. Um, so basically, a few months ago, Bishop Sycamore High School started to schedule football games for its football team. Now, Bishop Sycamore High School describes itself as an online charter school, but it isn't listed in Ohio's High School Athletic Association's directory. The school's official website was janky. It was a janky website. Their head coach, Roy Johnson, had an active warrant out for his arrest for a domestic violence incident, and he's facing multiple civil lawsuits for defaulting on a $100,000 loan. He's got eviction notices, all kinds of other offenses. This weekend, the team played 2 games within a 48-hour period, which raises serious questions about ethics and player safety. And the team isn't even made up of high school students. Many of them are actually postgraduate, with some having played junior college football. So that means they're just a little older than their typical high school football player. The school had to cancel games in the past due to issues with their roster, failure to make travel accommodations, and other teams who had discovered that Bishop Sycamore was fielding players that were adults to play against high school students. Now the school set up a GoFundMe on August 21st for a new football program getting established in Columbus that plays a national schedule, which is ranked 4th in the nation. The campaign raised a grand total of $140 towards its $20,000 goal, but oddly enough, it's not accepting uh, further donations. So basically, what we had here was a group of people who made up a school. They just decided, we're going to make up a school. They were adults. They were past high school age. But I guess they either wanted to relive their glory days of playing football, or they were trying to leverage good performance playing against high schoolers into getting a scholarship or an offer from a 4-year university, and then possibly leveraging that to play it in the NFL. But what we got is a bunch of grown ass men who was playing football against high school kids until uh, until it came out that this school was fake. And the thing is, you would expect that if you got some grown men playing football against some high school kids, that they would have a stellar record. But these kids was whooping their ass because they was too old to be playing against these damn kids. I don't get it. I don't get it. They lied about the caliber of players on its roster during a nationally televised game. So they had games played on ESPN. They fooled ESPN with this fake ass school. Um, it was just a lot of red flags was flying about the school, and of course, now that this investigation is complete, they found out that yes, this school really was fake. It was a way for students to play football against high school teams and potentially increase students' prospect of playing football at the collegiate level. So it was a scam. In just in less words, it was a scam. Uh, I don't know how this happens, but the fact that this shit happened at all is like in the internet age is incredible to me, where you can look anything up on Google. You can find out the specs behind anything behind me if you really wanted to. If you wanted to, you could dig all into my business. But you mean to tell me nobody vetted the school that they had never heard of? They had never heard of Bishop Sycamore High School. So you mean to tell me nobody vetted this school? They allowed their kids to play against these grown ass men, probably drunk and all kinds of shit. You let these kids play against them. But at the end, the kids won. And I think Hollywood is finally going to have a story that might be a bit original, although it's based on a true story, because this is some shit that I feel like it only happened in the movies, yet here we are. Here we are. So I thought that was funny. But now we're going to move into today's big stories. You know, one of the biggest stories out there this week, anyway, is the performance of Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home uh, has done the most at the box office. Let's see. Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home has just done its thing at the box office. Let's see this real quick. And broken records. Uh, it's now the second highest domestic opening of all time, right behind Avengers Endgame. So it passed up Infinity War, passed up the Rise of Skywalker. I think the other one of the others was. So it has done its share of of blowing up, and I ain't mad about that either. Let's see. Okay. Hey, Clarence. So, Spider-Man No Way Home has blown all the way up to $751 million globally. It's almost at put it like this. When we were questioning, will this thing break a billion? And I was hesitant to say yes. Oh, I got the wrong one up. That's the story about the man from Bishop Sycamore. I got the wrong one up. when I was questioning whether I thought this thing was going to break $1 billion, you know, I was a little bit questionable, but Clarence, you called it. You said, yeah, it's going to break $1 billion. And guess what? It is, because we only 5 days in. We're only 5 days in, and we're at $751 million globally, $400 million overseas. This is insane. An insane amount of money. Of course, we know that because of the success of this thing, that Sony and everybody else is going to be trying to leverage everything that happened in that movie for to make more money. I can't say I blame them. I'd like to know too, where do you go next when you have your movie within its first 5 days make over $700 million? The only thing that has ever done that before is Avengers Endgame, with I think Avengers Endgame made $1 billion the first weekend. This is a close second. This is a close second. Now, the big question in the box office this week, because there's no question Spider-Man is probably going to continue to be the number one thing, the number one thing in at the movies this week is probably going to still be Spider-Man. The question is, where does anybody else fit in? We had The Matrix. I don't know how many people watched it. I watched The Matrix today. I watched it at home. So that was already going to hurt the Matrices. The Matrices, the Matrix box office was going to already be hurt because it was being released on HBO Max same day and date. So it was already going to suffer. But now it's going to get spanked. It's going to get spanked because Spider-Man No Way Home still is going through we're going through the middle of the week and it's still making money. That's first and foremost. And then the second thing is, at the end of the week, everybody is going to be free to go to the movies if that's what they choose to do. We're going to talk about reasons why people won't later on in the show. But if people are going to be going to the movies, this thing is not going to slow down. Now, usually Spider-Man, any of your comic book movies, superhero movies, any of those are like really front loaded. Like maybe the first week of this movie is where you're going to see the biggest turn at the box office in terms of revenue. But this thing has the potential to go 3 weeks. Being the number one thing, because you got Spider-Man. I mean, you got the first weekend, which was ridiculous. Then we got this weekend coming up where everybody is out of school, out of work, a family time. And then you have the following weekend, which is New Year's Eve, which we know that New Year's Eve is going to typically be slow because people are going to be doing other things, if those other things are still available for them to do because of Omicron and them. But this thing can go 3 consecutive weeks of making ridiculous amounts of money, because what's the competition right now? So I'm going to pull these comments because I see something that was pertinent. Clarence, Lysandra was greeting Clarence there, and Clarence said that's without China. And that is so huge because Avengers Endgame had the benefit of having a China release. Spider-Man No Way Home has not gotten a date yet. And like we talked about last week, could possibly be because Marvel is still beefing with China over the Shang-Chi, Simu Liu comments, and the Chloe Zhao, the fact that she was hired to do a movie for them. There is some beef. There's some beef. So maybe this thing will get a Chinese release and maybe it won't. We'll see. But Endgame had a China release, and it made $1 billion the first weekend. This thing could have probably made closer, probably would have been at the 700 million mark over the weekend if it had China involved. Lysandra says she did not like Endgame at all, but I honestly think you almost have to be obsessed. I mean, a lot of people, I guess a lot of people liked it who weren't obsessed with the franchise. But if you ain't obsessed, if you're not totally obsessed with the franchise, it's not gonna be for you. I hate that my son buy these big old tubs of I know this is supposed to be good water, but he buys these big ass things of core water. All I be wanting is a little bottle of Walmart water. Just give me the cheap stuff. Okay, moving on. It's this trailer that came out. I keep going back to this dude. Like, what? Why do I keep wanting to see him? It's this trailer that came out this week called The Northmen. Did anybody else watch the trailer? I do believe I even shared it on my the After the Snap Hangout group page. That trailer looks so dope. And look, I am not truly I guess I'm becoming a sucker of for movies and TV series that are set in a certain period of history where you got some information, but there's nothing like seeing it brought to life. This is supposed to be set in 10th century, I believe, Iceland. Let me pull the article before I start guessing. But the Northman, it looks so good. I don't know again how many people watched it, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it from this which way I need to go. This way. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it from this story. Focus Features has released a trailer for The Northman, the latest from The Witch and the Lighthouse writer director Robert Eggers. The film, a period revenge thriller, is scheduled to hit theaters on April 22nd, 2022. Far from the quieter, more intimate plots of his previous works, the trailer shows off an action-filled epic that follows a young Viking prince who was played by Alexander Skarsgård on a quest to avenge his father's murder at the hand of his uncle and reclaim the throne. Eggers co-wrote the script with Sean, the Icelandic author and poet, who also recently co-penned The Lamb. I really wanted to see that movie. I don't know if anybody, Clarence, or I don't know if this one came out even in I don't know if it came out even in on streamers. Uh The Lamb was a movie that I wanted to see, haven't seen it because it was playing at very limited amounts of theaters and it wasn't playing at the theater that I typically go to. Um so Clarence is telling me, yeah, he didn't see it, but he's watching it now. And it does. It looks so dope. And I'm like, okay, I got excited. The little side characters and just the premise of the story, just the fact that it is set in Iceland, and also the cast. Of course, I already said Alexander Skarsgård uh is playing the son of the king who was killed. But we also had Nicole Kidman in that thing. We got Anya Taylor-Joy in that thing. I'm looking like that to me is a stacked cast, a stacked cast. What's wrong with my mouth? Willem Dafoe is in there. The film was shot in Ireland, which stood in for Iceland, and the story set at the turn of the 10th century. Yeah, and look, Ethan Hawke is in that thing. Okay. So, but yeah, the trailer was beautiful. So this is something to keep our eyes on. It's coming out in April 2022. I think it looks good. Again, if you haven't seen the trailer, like to see the trailer and just go one place to find it. That's on the After the Snap Hangout page in on Facebook. Yeah, the cast looks good. I'm excited. Hopefully, hopefully we can get out of the house in April. By April, shucks. Uh, my next. Oh gosh, I gotta find what I did with the my next little story. I don't know what I did with the presenter. There it is. Clarence is agreeing that that one looks like it might look like it's gonna be good. Okay, let me go out of here real quick because I gotta find stuff that I did some things and don't know what I did. Okay, now I guess I can share again. Let's share. Okay, and then next, my distant cousin, my distant relative, Suge Knight. The question is, are we getting this biopic? I don't know why we need to know what this man stood for during his reign of terror on the music industry, because it was a reign of terror. I can admit that. Uh, but yeah, somebody is gonna convert all of that crap into a biopic about Suge Knight. Suge Knight, Steve Whitney is going to be producing this thing, and it's going to be scripted by Nick Cassavetes and Anthony Thorne. But yeah, he's purchased. Steve Whitney has purchased Suge Knight's life rights, and then he's going to develop a biopic on the infamous music mogul, bringing Nick Cassavetes, Anthony Thorne aboard to write the script. The former music exec, born Marion Hugh Knight Jr., co-founded the iconic label Death Row Records in 1991. If you call bullying co-founding, and is credited with bringing the subgenre of gangster rap into the mainstream. Artists signed to the label included, of course, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, and those three acts alone changed the whole face of hip hop as we know it. With the release of their groundbreaking albums, Dr. Dre gave us the Chronic. We still been waiting on the other Chronic. We've been waiting on the Aftermath, wasn't it? What was the name of the album that we've been waiting on forever? Snoop Dogg gave us Doggy Style, and every time I say that, I laugh like a child. And then Tupac gave us More Than All Eyes on Me, but you know, those are the ones that we're thinking about. Uh it was making $100 million a year. Death Row was over $100 million a year. And after Dr. Dre and Snoop left and Tupac was killed, uh the thing went into bankruptcy when Suge, went to prison. So that's how exciting is that? We're gonna get a damn a damn biopic about Suge Knight. Claire said we're gonna tread lightly. He don't want to be dangled out of a window. You know what? I don't know what happened with this man. How all of that happened. How do you become a, a kingpin? That's who he reminds me of. It's just a big ass kingpin. How do you become kingpin? But yeah, so he's gonna be featured in a feature film about his life, I think. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Like I said, good news, bad news. I gave you some good news, gave you some bad news. Bad news. I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know. But the man doesn't even own the rights to his own life anymore. He needed some money. I guess wasn't nobody put nothing on those books no more. Um, then next of more bad news, especially when you see the little skull background. I guess you know that the news can't be good. The news cannot be good. Our next thing is about Bill Cosby. His life is going to, or his situation. I won't even call it his life. His situation is going to get the docu-series treatment. So yeah, and it's W. Kamau Bell's 4-part Bill Cosby documentary is going to start at the Sundance Film Festival. Boy, I wish I could get my hands on that. But then it's going to debut January 30th on Showtime. And that's something I do want to see. I don't have Showtime, but we're going to have to see what I can finagle around January 30th. The name of the docuseries is We Need to Talk About Bill Cosby. Again, it's a 4-part docuseries, and it's aiming to chart the career rise and fall of Bill Cosby. It's going to first come out at Sundance, and then at 10 p.m. Eastern on Showtime, and it's going to be all the episodes will be there simultaneously. So, per Showtime, Cosby, the renowned comedian, actor, philanthropist, and African-American icon who for decades was revered as America's dad, has gained infamy as a criminal defendant in a sexual assault prosecution. The series explores the complex story of Cosby's life and work, weighing his actions against his indisputable global influence through interviews with comedians, cultural commentators, journalists, and women who share their most personal, harrowing encounters with Cosby. So this one was of particular interest to me because of More Than a Movie. As I continue that series, this will be one that I would truly like to cover. I might even have to do it in multiple episodes. I might not be able to do that in just one episode of More Than a Movie. We'll see. So this series is going to use archival footage and testimony to shed new light on Cosby's cultural contributions and impact at the height of his disgrace, accused of rape, drug-facilitated sexual assault, sexual battery, other misconduct by more than 60 women over more than 60 years. Gosh. So the guy who is putting this thing together, W. Kamau Bell, he grew up idolizing Bill Cosby, but he thinks that it was Bill Cosby's desire for power, and that desire propelled his professional success. That could be the same thing that motivated his alleged crimes against women. So I'm pretty interested in seeing what more can they tell about this story, and I do want to. I think that is something that I do want to cover for a More Than a Movie topic coming up soon, like probably middle of February, if I can finagle this Showtime. Our next thing is another piece of bad news. It's always bad news with me. What is it with me? Debbie Downer. But yeah, what is this? James Franco. He finally just said, yes, I admit I slept with these students. He slept with his students. And he's speaking out about it for the first time because he's reached a settlement in this class action lawsuit filed by former students, alleging that he sexually harassed and discriminated against them. So he appeared on Sirius XM's The Jess Cagle Show, and several clips of the interview were released, but the episode is slated to air on full on December 23rd. But yeah, he opened up about why he remained silent when addressing the allegations, what his sex scenes class entailed from his perspective, and the allegations that he was creating a pipeline where women would be subjected to his personal and professional sexual exploitation in the name of education. It all sounds really sick. That's why Seth Rogen said, "I'm not messing with you no more. I can't deal with you no more. It would be career suicide to continue to work with you after all those years of them working together." I think it was something like 2 decades of them working together. And Seth Rogen had to turn his back on James Franco. But James Franco is admitting that he did have sex with his students, which we know that there's the optics of that is all wrong. Even if your students were adults, we do have cases where they were 17 and younger. Maybe 17 is the youngest. I think I've heard 17 was the youngest. So we know they weren't all like just adult women who, yeah, it was unethical, but at least they were grown. This one was 17 years old. So James Franco made some bad decisions, but for some reason he is coming out now. Well, it ain't no just for some reason. He said that he applied what he learned in rehab when he was dealing with substance abuse. He applied that to this situation, and he knew that he had to make amends. He had to own what he did. I don't know if this is going to help him. He still has lawsuits out there. Women are saying that he is just a predator. So let me see. He has another. I know it's another case. Gosh, where is it? Yeah. So he said that the things, of course, are not accurate. The story is not being accurately portrayed, but he did have sex with the students. And he admits the stupidest thing I did, or one of the stupidest things I did at the school, was I called one of my classes a master class. He called that sex scenes. It was not about sex scenes. I was not teaching people how to do sex scenes or intimate scenes or anything of that nature. So why did you call it sex scenes? You just you set yourself up for failure. If it wasn't about sex, why did you name it sex? Like, if you know what you were doing when you named the class sex scenes. But anywho, he has admitted that he did some things and they was wrong, and he's still facing some other cases that he's not speaking on. Let me see what Mr. Brown said. Do you think we would have seen him in a certain recent movie if it wasn't for this? And I'm trying to think, what movie? Oh, I'm so stupid. It is possible. Can't say it. I can't say. Would they have needed that character? It would have been a good moment for his yeah, it would have been a good moment. But did we need another one? But yeah, I think maybe that is what shut him out of it, because nobody wants to associate with the person who is facing these kinds of allegations. This ain't the time for that, uh in this guy's time, maybe, but in this guy's time, not so much. Not so much. And I'm just, I guess, again, keep the bad news coming. It's still more bad news, and that is this guy. We're gonna pour out some liquor for Chris Noth's career, because it's a wrap. Uh, I can't say it's a complete wrap. It's not a complete wrap, but man, everybody is running from this dude now. He doesn't have he doesn't have anything to fall back on anymore. Let me see. I gotta find his story. Dang, did I pull it up? Yeah, I did. So yeah, this guy, He got fired from the Equalizer. Um, he had a very short appearance on uh, the Sex and the City reboot. I can never remember the name of it. I wasn't particularly into Sex and the City, so I don't know what the name of that show is. Then this tequila brand, he was trying to sell his tequila brand. That ain't moving forward now that he has sexual assault allegations. And I'm wondering, like, why would that even matter? Am I crazy? Like, he's selling something. You like, we're not even gonna buy anything from you because you got sexual assault allegations. It's just been all bad news for him ever since these allegations came to light, and more people are starting to say what a piece of crap he was over the years. He's been dropped by his artist agency uh, after these allegations. It's just uh, one bad thing after another bad thing. This lady, Zoe Lister Jones, she says that he was sexually inappropriate towards her and drunk on set of the Law and Order series. So we got that. Uh, there's a lot that this man had to deal with just in the last few weeks. Say unless his partners don't want to be associated. I mean, maybe, yeah, because I'm like, just I can't see. Okay, this is one of my unpopular opinions. Oh, we've been in Doctor Who recently too. But one of my unpopular opinions is that people still need to eat. You know what I mean? I know that he may have done some effed up things, a lot of things that we don't agree with. So we won't see him or support him on screen. We won't go out to see movies that he is directing, or we're not doing anything like that as consumers to put money into this man's hand. And I know that he's rich, and he probably wouldn't feel the same way if I was the person in trouble and he had a say. But people still gotta live. And right now, they're allegations. Now, it would be one thing if we had a video of Chris Noth doing the things that he's been accused of doing. But the country that we live in, uh, one of the things that we're most proud of is the fact that we are innocent until proven guilty. Now, um, welcome to Black America, because a lot of times we don't get that benefit of the doubt. But I still believe that we should give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, of course, yes, feel how you feel, say, and take a step back from this man, this actor, if you must. But the man has not been proven guilty of anything yet. So why do we jump out the window over the accusations? It is, to me, to me, it's another example of how we are devolving as a society. We cannot, uh, the very ideals that we hold dear for ourselves, we are not willing to extend those ideals to others. And I know I'm sounding way too sympathetic, but I'm not trying to show him sympathy. I'm saying it one day it might be me being accused of something. And then in that case, I may know 100% sure that I am innocent of what I'm being accused of. But we are so used to judging people and throwing them in the garbage. And we don't know whether or not this man has really done this. Now, again, I feel the same way when we talk about like the Travis Scott stuff. Travis Scott is putting his foot in his mouth. These are examples. He's messing himself up. The stuff that he's saying without saying, or the things that the things that come to light. Again, at the end of the day, if the young man is found like that, he has no liability in his situation, I'm 100% for it. Go ahead. This man, Chris Noth, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know if he did these things. Uh, I want to believe all parties until somebody is proven to be telling the truth, And I don't know. Maybe I'm just being naive, but we gonna go ahead and pull out this liquor, this tequila, for Chris Noth's career because it ain't looking good at all for him. It's not looking good at all. And dang, we got one more topic, I think, on this old skull and crossbones background that I created here. And that is, I'm officially terrified of going anywhere anymore. I don't want to go no place. I'm afraid because Omicron is out here like the Grinch. Omicron is out here like the Grinch. The thing has started knocking down even people who are, well, I guess that's always been a thing, but Elizabeth Warren and gosh, Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker are both experiencing mild symptoms because they have caught COVID. Just it's just hitting everything. It's now the dominant strain in the United States. The U.S. started off just 3 weeks ago, before we had even heard of an Omicron variant. Just 3 weeks ago, Delta was still doing its thing, and now Omicron has taken over. Omicron is now accounting for 73% of the cases in the United States, less than 3 weeks after its discovery. So I'm like, this thing seems to be far more contagious. Of course, they're saying that it is milder, that it is not as bad as the Delta variant. But in 3 weeks, it has become the main thing, the main strain here in the United States. The first case of the variant was identified in San Francisco on December 1st. This woman had traveled overseas, came back to San Francisco. They say that it started with that one person. Of course, we can always double or maybe even triple. If you saw it in one person, it's probably came back in 3 people, and those 3 people have come back to the United States, and now Omicron is the highest strain that we have over here in the United States. One of the responses that President Biden has said is that he's going to have, I think it's 500 million of those rapid COVID tests being sent out to people, to everybody's home. Everybody is going to get a COVID test in the mail. I don't know what that's supposed to do. The only thing that it can do is tell me, I guess if I'm not feeling well, maybe that will help make me stay home if I take this test and it come back positive. I don't know, because people are still doing the most as far as staying home. Like, if you feel sick, they still don't get the fact that if you feel sick, stay home. Some of these employers have not gotten the memo that if your employees feel sick, they need to stay home. Like, this is not the time to be questioning people about I need a doctor's note and all this foolishness. If they say they sick, let them stay home. Now, if they stay out and have a fever and all of this stuff, then they need to come back, with a doctor's note, or with a negative COVID test at the absolute least. But just quit asking these people to jump through hoops to call off, because this is the time that y'all don't want. All it takes is a couple people to show up to work sick, and then everybody is going to get sick. Give you a case in point. Case in point. 2 sports leagues, a story in 2 parts. We got, dang, is this showing? Oh, yeah, it's showing. Doggone it. Let me get it so you can hear it. I think I know what I did wrong. Okay, we'll start back right here.
Placed in the league's COVID-19 protocols, and the league had to postpone their season because of various outbreaks. No NHL players will be competing in the upcoming Olympics in Beijing. The Canadian press and a number of outlets reporting that NHL players will not be going to the 2022 Beijing Olympics. A formal announcement from the league is expected within the next 24 hours. The news comes just a day after the league put their season on pause until after Christmas because of COVID outbreaks.
They are going to start playing again at the 27th, or at least try to, but they wanted players in a day earlier to test. They wanted testing to resume on the 26th so they could find out when players came back who's positive and who isn't. And also, they didn't want players to go to games on the 27th and then not be able to play because they tested positive there. They wanted to try to protect it as much as they possibly could.
The NHL announcing late Monday that the league would pause their season starting December 22nd with a return to play on the 27th. 2 games were scheduled for Tuesday night, but the game between the Flyers and Capitals was canceled earlier in the day because of COVID-related issues. And teams across the league entered more players into the league's COVID protocols, including another 4 players from the Leafs. In total, 17 members of the franchise are in the league's protocols, and since December 13th, the NHL has had to postpone 46 games because of COVID-19 outbreaks. The Raptors traveled to Chicago on Tuesday afternoon for their game on Wednesday against the Bulls, and that game is in jeopardy. As of Tuesday afternoon, the team has 7 players in the league's COVID protocols, adding Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, and Malachi Flynn to the list that already includes Gary Trent Jr., Delano Banton, and Pascal Siakam. This game hasn't been postponed yet because the NBA has amended the rules so that teams are able to sign players to a 10-day contract to help fill in for the other players who are in protocols. So if tip-off does happen on Wednesday, be prepared to see a lot of new faces on that Raptors bench.
No plans right now to pause the season. We've, of course, looked at all the options, but frankly, we're having trouble coming up with what the logic would be behind pausing right now. I think we're finding ourselves where we sort of knew we were going to get to for the past several months, and that is that this virus will not be eradicated, and we're going to have to learn to live with it. And I think that's what we're experiencing in the league right now.
That was NBA Commissioner.
Oh gosh. So yeah, we see one. I'm gonna. You said yeah. I'm so surprised the leagues are moving games around. I'm not sure why that shocked me so much. I think I'm more surprised that with this many players affected, that they won't maybe pause the season, just pause for a couple weeks so that you can get, first of all, you can get your mind wrapped around how many people are out. 100 some odd players out on COVID protocols. You bring Kyrie Irving back, and I know this wasn't the NBA, this was the Nets' decision. You bring Kyrie Irving back for him to immediately catch COVID and go right back to sitting. I'm not understanding the logic in that. Now you say you think the 10-day contract thing might be a great idea, and it might. But again, if this is the case, especially these big games, the games for Christmas, for instance, those are supposed to be your marquee matchups, and you're playing teams who have been decimated by COVID. People already bought those tickets. They are about to see people from the G League coming and playing in on for them on Christmas. This is not what they expected when they bought those tickets. I don't get why they won't just pause things. Why they won't just say, let's stop. Like the NHL is doing it. The NHL, I feel, is acting responsibly in this situation. I don't get what well, I mean, I do get it because you as you so aptly put it, the bag. Gosh, they have to secure the darn bag, but at the same time, I mean, think about the players. Right? A vaccine mandate isn't helping. Being vaccinated itself is not helping. I mean, we're still catching it. People who have been vaccinated are still catching it. So now my question is, like, what is the solution? The solution that Adam Silver proposed is that we just start to get used to it. How did he put it? He said it. I have to make sure that I'm going to quote him right. He didn't say get used to it.
In the league right now.
That was NBA Commissioner Adam Silver in an interview this afternoon.
Oh, he said,
and we're going to have to learn to live with it. And I think that's what we're experiencing in the league right now.
We're going to have to learn to live with it. Are we? Are we going to have to learn? We're going to have to learn to live with it. Yeah, you say, see, even with what you said here sounded better than what he said. We have to find a way to live with it. Sounds a whole lot better than we got to learn to live with it. And that's what he said. We got to learn to live with it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I feel some type of way about that. I feel like it's not his health and his safety on the line. He is sending these teams out there. There is no way to keep them safe right now. We don't have a way. So if one person gets it, then everybody on the team is supposed to sit down, and then everybody they played against before this diagnosis needs to have a seat as well. You at this point would have nobody playing if they did things right. But again, it's about the money. That's what I don't like about it. That is what I don't like about it. You say, yeah, I don't even know at this point. We're at the beginning of our third year. And I thought this would be over by now, Clarence, especially because, of course, we've had pandemics before. We haven't, but, our predecessors have had pandemics before, and they didn't have the same type of ways to be prepared to battle a pandemic. And we got all of this science, all of this knowledge, and we are acting just ass backwards. And plus, the fans can be bringing it in the stadiums too. Exactly. Now, that is one thing that I guess if they even said that, if they said, we are just going to limit it to so many X amount of people in the stands, and they have to still be socially distant, and they have to be several benches up. They can't sit on the floor and all of this stuff. If they said that, then I'd be like, okay, that at least you're trying to do something. But they say we're not even going to try to do nothing. We got to learn to live with it. So I just said acting slow. And that's what they are doing, just acting slow. Or is it an act? Is it an act? I don't even know if it's an act. It might be just who they are. And Clarence also said at least the NHL has plastic barriers. But I'm going to tell you, I got a problem with them plastic barriers. And the reason why is I worked in retail. So my last little job was a retail job. And people walk up to the counter and we had that piece of plexiglass hanging down as if the germs know. Oh, we can't go around that plexiglass. That's why they got it hanging there. The plexiglass was for optics. It's the same with my sister at the casino. They had they had to install plexiglass on the sides of each machine. And I'm like, again, if I cough violently enough or sneeze violently enough, yeah, some of the machine is going to catch some of that, but the rest of it is just going into the atmosphere. And you know that the air in the casino is recycled air. I'm like, this right here is a freaking petri dish. I could not work in casino right now. I would break down every time I went to the floor. Every time I saw somebody wipe their nose and touch the buttons, anything, it would freak me out. He said they've always had those plastic barriers due to fans throwing stuff. Yeah, they got some different kind of fans in the NHL. I mean, that's a whole different entity in itself with the NHL. They literally be out there fighting. So that's something different. At least I can say that they say, hey, we're going to keep our players somewhat safe from this virus. The only thing y'all got to worry about is each other out there. Because just like, what is it, Cedric the Entertainer said, they just somebody out there just skating around wishing a nigga would. So yeah, that's more dangerous than the virus, I think. That's more dangerous than the virus. Man, that puck could probably be pretty darn dangerous. Hit that thing hard enough, you knock somebody's entire front out. I guess that's why a lot of them don't have teeth, huh? Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But yeah, I am completely terrified now of going anywhere. I don't want to. I watched Matrix today, and a little part of me says I'm glad I didn't go to the movies to see it. I hope I'm not, I'm showing my hand. You guys are usually the ones that are here, but I know that this film review Friday is that Christmas Eve? Whatever, what is today's date? Anywho, I know it's close to Christmas Eve. I know that people have to, be with their families and stuff because we don't do nothing over here. Don't mean everybody else don't. I watched The Matrix. And again, like I said, my high level thoughts, as Clarence will put it, are not high level at all. I'm glad that I didn't go to the movies to see it. I was not happy. Wasn't happy at all. I can't see this one. Did you erase it? Did you erase one? Because I can't see it. Anywho, you said when you're at the gym, you're the only one wearing a mask. I probably see about 15% of folks wearing masks in the wild. You said, "Oh, was it bad?" I'm not gonna say it was horrible. It wasn't horrible. And you're gonna watch it tonight. You let me know what you think, because me and you we be miles apart sometimes, and then sometimes the things that we think are. So I want to know if I'm being unreasonable. It was very meta, and that could be good and that could be bad. And for me, in this case, it was bad. I think I'd be thinking about sit down and think about myself with Spider-Man No Way Home, for instance. I love that movie, right? It was very nostalgic and that sort of thing where you reached back into the past and pulled some things out, but I felt like it served the story well. But at the same time, that I'm a Marvel head anyway, so I love the Marvel movies anyway. I felt some kind of way about the Ghostbusters doing the exact same thing. I was like, I didn't like it. Nostalgia, it whooped my ass with nostalgia, didn't like the movie, right? Then I say, okay, The Matrix is a franchise that I loved. So when I come back and watch this, and we know that they were pulling things from the past because we could see that in the trailers. So I'm like, okay, I might feel a little bit better about this because this is a franchise that I absolutely loved. Loved. And when I saw that the way that they used going back in the nostalgia, I'm like, shit, if I wanted to watch The Matrix, I would have watched The Matrix. I'm talking like the first Matrix movie. It was just, yeah, and you said the Wachowskis have fallen off. And then this was only half of them. Lana, I believe Lana was the one who directed this. And there was just so much about it I didn't like, Clarence. And I don't and I thought that I was going to enjoy The Matrix. Yeah. And I can't wait for you or anybody else to watch it and tell me what you think, because I might be being that jerk. Because I also had a thing about Hawkeye. Not that I didn't like the episode. Yeah, Clarence, that nostalgic stuff, it served the story. So we didn't just have them there saying stuff just to be saying it. Everything served the story, and that's why I could be okay with that. And I guess in the Matrix, it kind of served the story. You'll see. You will see. Yeah, but we only got half of the Wachowski sisters in this thing. So, uh, oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, I was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed by the Hawkeye finale. I hope I hope that that's not an indication of what kind of week I'm gonna have, because last week everything hit it out the park. It was a great week for movies and TV. This week, underwhelmed, underwhelmed. I'm like my first two. I'm underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed by Hawkeye, and I was underwhelmed with the Matrix. And gosh, I really hope Star Trek Discovery and the Wheel of Time knock it out the park, so at least we could go out of the week even. Clarence said it went from feeling like a Marvel show to feeling like a Netflix show, and that turned me off. Now I'm going to tell you, I even took it worse than that, Clarence. I said it went from feeling like a Marvel show to feeling like a CW show. And while the CW shows are great on the CW, if you start trying to adapt those and trying to make them into something else, it ain't nothing but a CW show. And that's what this felt like to me. It felt CW-ish. It was a lot of talking to it was a lot of talking to get just lackluster blah finish. I what could have been, I don't know, maybe things were supposed to be different and they kind of had to rush. I don't imagine why you would have to rush, but this episode felt like it was in a real hurry. Like we are putting our foot on the gas and we are not coming off, and it's not in a good way. Just everything happened. We're in a hurry. We got to get rid of this person. We're in a hurry. We got to do this thing. We're in a hurry. No, slow down, or at least give us one more episode or something. Everything about it was like meh. He said, my one question, and this isn't a spoiler, but where were the cops the last 20 minutes? That they like we okay unless uh our friends, our other costumed friends, called them off. But I can't imagine even how you would even be able to do that. And okay, there was besides the cops. Oh, we've established. Oh gosh, I can't say it without dropping a bomb. But there are other people in New York that could have helped. Where were all of them? That's what I hate about all of them being in the same little areas, because these big ass things is happening and you're wondering to yourself, well, where's everybody else? This is so and so's chance, or this is such and such chance, or we just learned about this person. Where are they? And nobody else shows up, and it all gets wrapped up in a nice little bow. The the even the tropes, were just not enough to save this. It was This was the first one that I felt this lackluster about. I thought we'd see somebody, Clarence, somebody, not not the main who from that same content that you're talking about, but at least the one of the lesser surprises in that content. I thought we'd at least see that. Um, yeah, it was just it wasn't good. And look, I know my son is gonna realize it because I haven't said anything to him about watching it today. I haven't said anything to him about it. Yeah, that's why I was like, I just knew that this final episode was going to be epic. And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It was just underwhelming. And what I did like, and I know it's a lot of people who didn't like this, was the post-credit scene. I enjoyed that post-credit scene. I thought that I think I wanted to see more of that. Just give us a whole uh special with just 30 minutes of that. I would have been very pleased, because it was cute. But yeah, it was a lot of people who was not happy, even about that post-credit scene. The first one of the first one of the season, and it was, again, it was that. Oh gosh. Oh, so yeah, I can do this all day. Oh gosh. And I have to wonder if it's going to play into anything. Rogers the Musical showed up in Spider-Man No Way Home just briefly, so we know that Rogers the Musical was a thing when Rogers the Musical was a thing when that movie was happening. So we saw it come up in No Way Home. We see it in Hawkeye. I wonder if we are going to see it in other places, and will it end up playing some type of role, or was it just something, comic relief for this show? Uh, because yeah, they did that tie-in with No Way Home. I'm wondering if it doesn't mean anything, why would they do that tie-in? Yeah, it's been such a. I mean, every day has been so quiet. All my friends are not coming in no more. Well, you and Lysandra, but I did want to play the doggone game, but then it's just you and her, and don't want you guys to go head to head like that. Um, yeah, you guys got anything else? Because I don't. I don't. There was something I wanted to talk about. It was a movie or something. You say you don't have nothing either. I can't remember what this movie was. Oh, um, gosh, I'm doing The Matrix for Film Review Friday, and I know everybody will be tied up probably, but I'm going to put it up, and you guys can watch it at your own leisure. I'm also checking out Being the Ricardos. I didn't watch that one yet. I plan to watch that when I get off here, unless my son wants to keep our date for Hawkeye, because he gonna have to knock on my door and ask me because I don't want I don't have to see it again. I don't have to see it again. We're looking forward to Book of Boba Fett. I know I am. We got what, roughly 7 days a week before that'll be out, so I'm excited about that. I don't have a whole bunch else. It's just been such a quiet time around here. I've been able to get through with everything in an hour and a half, and I don't like that. I like being tied up for a few hours. But yeah, so if you're not busy, I will be here tomorrow. I'm gonna be watching man, one of my favorite Christmas, like I'm an adult. One of my favorite Christmas shows is the episode of the animated series of Batman called Christmas with the Joker. And look, I covered that when I was just doing the audio podcast, but I'm like, now I know how to share the screen, share along with you guys. So that is going to be something I'm going to do tomorrow. Same bat time. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're gonna be here. Sit down. I'm gonna do I'm gonna queue up Christmas with the Joker, and we just gotta have a little bit of commentary over it. I'm gonna get hit with a copyright anyway. I don't care. I'm going to do that because that is that that cartoon is so freaking funny to me. When you start talking, the Kevin Conroy uh voices voice of Batman and the Mark Hamill Joker, that is pure comedy. And I laugh every year. I watch it every single year. I watch it like most people watch The Grinch or Miracle on 34th Street or whatever. I watch Christmas with the Joker, and I love it. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow in the lead up to Christmas. And if you're not doing anything, and you guys join me, make an old lady's day. I'm gonna quit calling myself an old lady. I'm starting to find out yeah, Clarence, it's on HBO Max. I'm starting to find out that I'm only old in my own mind. I got a new neighbor. He don't speak a word of English. But me and him, right here, we have to talk in the telephone and then translate it for him to hear what I'm saying. And then I'm sitting there waiting for him to talk back. It takes us about an hour to have a 10-minute conversation. But I'm enjoying it. So I might even go outside and chat with him for a little while too. So I don't have nothing else. It's been fun. Me and you, Clarence, we didn't hung out today. I don't know where Lysandra went. She fell off the face of the earth. So anywho, hopefully you'll join me tomorrow. If not, hopefully I'll see you before Christmas. If I don't, have a great Christmas. And I'll see you on the other side. Hope Santa brings you everything you like, or Satan, or whoever he is. Santa, Satan, it's all the same. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.